Are you ready to discover the quarters in your pocket that could be worth a life-changing fortune? Moneybags, some of the most rare and valuable quarter dollars are hiding in plain sight, and today we're uncovering the ones that could bring you big money. From historic designs to rare minting errors, these coins have shocked collectors at auctions. If you've ever thought that spare change was just loose coins, think again. One of these quarters could make you rich overnight. Stay tuned and don't miss this. What if I told you that a simple 1991 P Washington quarter, a coin you might have tossed into a vending machine, a parking meter, or left in a jar for years, there are rare varieties, errors, and high-grade examples that can sell for jaw-dropping amounts at auctions. Imagine finding one in your change and suddenly realizing you're holding a treasure worth more than gold. The Washington Quarter series began in 1932, originally struck to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. For decades, the coin became a staple in American pockets, evolving from its early silver versions into the modern copper-nickel-clad coins we know today. By 1991, the U.S. Mint was producing quarters at full speed for everyday circulation. The Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P Mint mark, struck over 614 million Washington quarters that year, a huge number. Why the 1991 P quarter is special? Even though billions of quarters have been minted over the decades, the 1991 P issue stands out for several reasons. Transition era coin. The early 1990s were the final years before the state quarters program, 1999 to 2008, revolutionized U.S. coin collecting. This makes 1991 quarters a pre-state quarter relic. Mint errors and varieties, error coins, double strikes, and off-metal strikes from this year are among the most valuable. Condition rarity. While hundreds of millions were minted, finding one in pristine, mint state 67 or higher is extremely rare. Collector demand. As more people enter coin collecting, interest in overlooked modern issues like the 1991 P is exploding. This is where it gets exciting. The rare error coins are the true treasures. Here are some to watch out for. Double die obverse, DDO, errors. Collectors will pay hundreds to thousands depending on visibility. Off-center strikes. Slightly off-center errors can fetch $50 to $200, while dramatic ones can reach $1,000 to $3,000. Clipped planchets. Rare examples can sell for hundreds. Wrong planchet errors. A 1991 P struck on the wrong metal could be worth $10,000 to $50,000 plus. Full strike high-grade coins. A flawless 1991 P graded MS67 or higher can fetch $1,500 to $5,000, because very few survived in such pristine condition. Moneybag auction records that shocked collectors. Now let's talk about real sales that prove the 1991 P quarter can be worth huge money. A 1991 P in MS67 sold at auction for nearly $2,500. Error coins with dramatic off-center strikes have sold for $1,000 plus. Rare double die errors can fetch anywhere from $500 to $5,000, depending on eye appeal. And the most jaw-dropping sales come from wrong planchet errors, some rumored to have gone for over $25,000 to $50,000 in private auctions. That's why collectors are constantly searching through change, coin rolls, and old collections, because one lucky find could be worth more than a brand new car. Unique wrong planchet strikes, potentially $100,000 to $1 million plus if authenticated and sold at a major auction. That's right, the right error coin could turn a humble quarter into a life-changing treasure. Fire. Why collectors love the 1991 P Washington quarter. Collectors aren't just after the money. There's something about this coin that captures imaginations. It represents a turning point in U.S. coinage before the state quarter craze. The thrill of the hunt. Error coins are rare, and every discovery feels like winning the lottery. Historical connection. It links modern America with the long-running Washington Quarter series that began in 1932. Undervalued status. Many collectors believe the 1991 P is still underrated, meaning values could skyrocket in the future. Imagine reaching into your pocket and pulling out an ordinary-looking quarter. You're about to spend it on a snack or drop it into a parking meter. It's the reality of the 1983 P Washington quarter with rare errors. Some of these coins have stunned collectors at auctions, fetching prices that rival rare treasures and leaving ordinary people speechless when they discover what they had in their hands. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage since 1932, honoring the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. By the early 1980s, the design remained familiar, but the coinage landscape was changing. But here's the catch. The U.S. Mint did not release official mint sets in 1982 and 1983 due to budget cuts. That means finding 1983 coins in pristine condition is incredibly difficult. Most went straight into circulation. This makes high-grade survivors, especially from 1983, much more valuable than collectors once thought. Combine that with minting mistakes and rare planchet errors, and the 1983 P. Washington quarter became a hidden treasure in American coinage history. Magnifying glass tilted left. Why the 1983 P quarter is rare. At first glance, a 1983 P quarter looks just like any other. But collectors know better. The rarity comes from a mix of high circulation, no mint sets, nearly all coins were used, making uncirculated examples scarce. Error varieties, wrong planchets, double strikes, and clipped coins slipped through the mint's quality control. Condition rarity, very few coins survived in pristine MS67 or higher condition. Collector demand, the lack of mint sets in 1983 created a premium for even normal coins, and errors are in even greater demand. Here's where things get exciting, the errors and varieties that turn a 25-cent coin into a small fortune. Double die obverse, DDO, errors, clear doubling can fetch $500 to $5,000 plus, depending on sharpness and grade. Off-center strikes, slightly off-center examples might bring $100 to $300, while dramatic 50% off-center strikes can soar above $2,000 to $5,000. Clipped planchets, prices range from $100 to $500 or more. Wrong planchet errors, or even a foreign coin planchet can sell for $10,000 to $50,000 plus. Some extreme cases could even reach into the hundreds of thousands. High-grade full-strike coins, even without visible errors, a flawless 1983 P-graded MS67 or higher can sell for $2,000 to $7,000 at auction because so few exist. When 1983 P quarters shocked the market, let's look at real-world proof of how valuable these coins can be. A 1983 P Washington quarter in MS67 sold for $4,242 at auction. Another flawless example reached nearly $7,000 because collectors were desperate for high-grade survivors. Error coins with dramatic off-center strikes or wrong planchets have sold for $10,000 to $30,000. And in private sales, some rare minting mistakes have been rumored to go for over $100,000. This is why collectors never stop searching for 1983 P quarters, because the right discovery can completely change someone's life. Why collectors love the 1983 P quarter? There's a reason collectors are obsessed with this coin. No mint sets in 1983, the lack of uncirculated coins makes even common 1983 special. The thrill of the hunt, error coins are rare, and every discovery feels like striking gold. Auction surprises, prices keep climbing, especially for high-grade and error examples. Historical context, the early 1980s were tough years for collectors, making these coins a challenge to acquire. Detective mail sign how to find a rare 1983 P quarter, want to hunt for treasure? Here's how, check your change. People often overlook 1980s quarters. Search bank rolls, buy rolls of quarters from banks and check for errors. Look for doubling, a magnifying glass or microscope can reveal doubled lettering. Check the edges, clipped planchets and wrong planchets are easy to spot if you know what to look for. Grade the coin, send potential treasures to PCGS or NGC for grading. Auction houses, watch heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and great collections for record-breaking examples. Could you have the $1 million 1983 P quarter? The 1983 P Washington quarter may seem ordinary, but hidden among the millions are rare treasures that collectors will pay fortunes to own. From double dies worth thousands, to wrong planchet errors worth tens of thousands, to flawless MS67 gems worth thousands, this coin proves that everyday pocket change can hide unbelievable wealth. So the next time you see a 1983 quarter, don't just spend it. Look closely, because that little coin might just be your ticket to a life-changing discovery. Imagine checking your pocket change and pulling out what looks like an ordinary Washington quarter. Some 1979 Washington quarters have shocked collectors at auctions, setting records and turning small pocket finds into life-changing money. That's why today, we're diving deep into the value, history, and the fascinating errors that make the 1979 quarter one of the most exciting coins you might own without even knowing it. The Washington Quarter series began in 1932, created to honor the 200th birthday of America's first president, George Washington. Originally struck in 90% silver, quarters transitioned to a copper-nickel-clad composition in 1965 due to rising silver prices. By 1979, the U.S. Mint was in full swing producing clad quarters at the Denver, Philadelphia, No Mint Mark, and San Francisco, S-Proof, mints. The Denver Mint produced 489,789,780 quarters in 1979 alone, nearly $500 million. On paper, that makes this coin seem common. But history tells us otherwise. Within those hundreds of millions, a small number of errors, high-grade survivors, and rare varieties exist that turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. Magnifying glass tilted left. Why the 1979 quarter is considered rare. Here's the truth, most 1979 quarters are worth only face value. But collectors don't just look for common examples, they seek perfection and minting mistakes. The 1979 quarter becomes rare and valuable because of error varieties, like off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and missing clad layers. High-grade condition, MS67, MS68, and higher are extremely scarce. Unique striking issues, sharp details, full luster, and clean surfaces. Some of these coins have sold at auctions for thousands, and the finest known examples can hit tens of thousands. Rare errors? Those can skyrocket even higher. Gemstone valuable errors of the 1979 quarter. Double die obverse, DDO, you could be holding a very rare double die. DDOs have brought $500 to $5,000 plus depending on grade. Off-center strikes, a strong off-center with the date still visible can fetch $1,000 to $3,500. Clipped planchets, a clean-clipped 1979 quarter could bring $250 to $1,500. Missing clad layer, collectors pay huge premiums for this mistake, some have sold for $1,000 plus. Broad strikes and die caps, coins struck outside the collar, broad strike, or stuck to the die cap, are dramatic errors worth hundreds to thousands. MS68 examples, extremely rare, potentially $10,000 to $25,000. Error varieties, $500 to tens of thousands depending on rarity. And here's the jaw-dropper. In 1979, quarter graded MS68 by PCGS sold for over $20,000 at auction. Trophy Auction Records, 1979, MS68 quarter, sold for $20,400 at Heritage Auctions. Major off-center errors, have realized $3,000 plus. Missing clad layer examples, typically sell in the $1,000 to $2,000 range. These records show why collectors keep their eyes peeled for this ordinary coin. Red Heart. Why collectors love the 1979 quarter. Part of the Washington Quarter legacy, a series that spans decades. Affordable entry point, common examples are cheap, rare ones are valuable. Error collectors' favorite, tons of varieties make it exciting. Auction surprises, ordinary-looking coins have made headlines by selling for thousands. Picture this, you're going through a jar of old coins, and you stumble upon a 1967 Washington quarter. At first glance, it looks ordinary, a coin that once bought a candy bar or a soda. Yes, you heard that right. Some rare 1967 era Washington quarters have stunned collectors at auctions, selling for jaw-dropping prices that can change lives. Today, we're uncovering the hidden history, incredible errors, and real market values that make this coin one of the most exciting treasures in U.S. From 1932 to 1964, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. But as silver prices skyrocketed, people began hoarding coins. Here's the twist: 1965 to 1967 quarters were struck without mint marks. That means no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, nothing. The mint struck 1,524,031,848 quarters, over 1.5 billion coins. On paper, that makes it seem common. Magnifying glass tilted left. Why the 1967 quarter is rare. Most 1967 quarters are worth face value, 25 cents. But what makes certain ones rare comes down to minting errors, off-center strikes, double dies, and missing clad layers. Condition/high grade, superb gem examples in MS67, MS68 are incredibly scarce. Special striking varieties, some coins were struck on leftover silver planchets, creating ultra-rarities. It's these factors that turn a pocket change coin into a treasure worth thousands. Gemstone, the most valuable 1967 era varieties. Now, let's uncover the exciting errors collectors dream about. Double die obverse, DDO. You may have a valuable coin worth $500 to $5,000 plus. Off-center strikes, a dramatic off-center, especially with the date visible, can fetch $1,000 to $3,500. Missing clad layer, rare examples can sell for $2,000 or more. Clipped planchet, clean clipped 1967 quarters can bring $250 to $1,500. Struck on a wrong planchet, these spectacular rarities can sell for $10,000 to $50,000 plus. MS68 examples, nearly impossible, can command $10,000 to $25,000 plus. Major error varieties, from $500 into the tens of thousands. And here's the kicker: the rarest off-metal errors and ultra-high-grade examples could push into the hundreds of thousands, even millions, if discovered in the right auction setting. Trophy auction records of the 1967 quarter. 1967 quarter MS68, PCGS, sold for $8,812 at Heritage Auctions. Off-center error, realized over $3,000 at auction. Missing clad layer, sold for more than $2,500. Wrong planchet strike, known examples have brought in $20,000 to $40,000 plus. These results prove that the ordinary-looking 1967 quarter can, under the right conditions, shock the world. Tips to identify a rare 1967 quarter: use a magnifying glass to spot doubling on the obverse. Check edges for missing clad layers. Look at coin alignment for off-center strikes. Examine weight. A silver error planchet will weigh differently, 6.25 grams versus 5.67 grams. Get the coin graded by PCGS or NGC to reveal its true market value. Imagine pulling out an old quarter from your change jar, but what if I told you that some of these quarters, specifically the rare era varieties, a coin minted in 1966, during one of the most fascinating periods of American coinage history, could turn into a life-changing discovery? The values of the 1966 Washington quarter, and why this 1 year of coins holds secrets that could make you very, very wealthy. Stay with me until the end, because the most valuable era variety of this coin has sold for jaw-dropping figures that could rival a luxury home or a sports car. The Washington Quarter series began in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. By the mid-1960s, however, America was facing a coinage crisis. Silver shortage. Up until 1964, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. But the rising price of silver caused people to hoard coins, creating a shortage in circulation. The big change in 1965, the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel clad composition, a pure copper core layered with nickel. This is the same metal content still used in quarters today. So while the 1966 quarter may look plain, its timing in history makes it very significant. It was part of the very first few years of clad coinage, representing a major shift in U.S. money. Why 1966 quarters are so special. The U.S. Mint produced 821,101,500 quarters in 1966. That's a huge number. At face value, you'd think this coin is extremely common. But here's the twist, most are worth only face value, 25 cents, if circulated. But rare error coins from 1966 are incredibly valuable. Special Mint Set, SMS, coins were also produced, with sharper details and satin finishes, which can fetch higher values. The real money, however, comes from the error coins, the mistakes made during minting. These accidents are like winning lottery tickets for collectors. High-voltage types of rare 1966 quarter errors worth big money. Double die errors, DDO or DDR. Values, $500 to $5,000 plus depending on sharpness and grade. Off-center strikes, values, $1,000 to $15,000 plus for dramatic off-centers. Clipped planchets, values, $200 to $2,500 plus. Transitional errors, a few 1966 quarters were accidentally struck on leftover 90% silver planchets. These are extremely rare. Value, $10,000 to $100,000 plus, and in pristine condition, even higher. Some reports suggest a few silver-struck 1966 quarters have fetched six figures at auctions. Wrong planchet errors, value, $5,000 to $25,000 plus. Full brockage errors, a full brockage 1966 quarter is almost unheard of, but if you find one, it could be worth $50,000 or more. Silver transitional error, $10,000 to $100,000 plus. Rare full brockage or extreme transitional, $250,000 to millions. Yes, you read that correctly. A single 1966 quarter with the right error could buy you a luxury sports car, a dream house, or even set you up for life.